streaming like that. That's it. One button.
How streamlined.
We're on.
That's so cool, dude.
Recording. It's pretty cool.
How?
So everyone's going to Facebook, man. Don't say anything that you regret right now.
Okay. Well, I have no regrets, which is lucky. So.
Yeah.
We
I probably have plenty.
will got a few, but we won't talk about those.
No.
That we might regret.
No, exactly right. What's happening, Sam Betteridge, my man?
Not much, bro. I'm just sort of relishing in how amazing this little project is. You've got
cool.
such a mad little setup going, dude.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it, and that's why I wanted to bring you in, because we've had many chats before in the past, and you were like one of my first ones. Remember you in Yamba?
Yeah, was that one of your first ones? I mean, you'd probably done a few around that time, but that was like the early days for you, hey?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the early days.
Yeah.
It was.
I remember we were sitting on a stool.
On a stool in my kitchen/lounge room.
Yeah.
Up against the wall, and then I think Kingy was upstairs.
Kingy was upstairs
waiting for us, and Emily was upstairs waiting for us as well.
She was cooking pasta.
Oh, was she cooking pasta?
Yeah.
And they were cracking the sheets because we had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And we're just having one of our chats.
And we said 10 minutes, and like you said earlier, just before, it was an hour and a half.
It was an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's why we're like, we've got to cut. Like, I have to say it now because we know what we're like.
Look,
we talk on tangents.
You shut me up, and I'll just shut up. I promise.
No, you shut me up and I'll shut up. I promise.
This could be a problem.
This could be a problem. But yeah, it's fun, man. I love podcasting.
Dude, you and me both, man. Like, I think there's been a few people in the last decade or so who've really brung the technology to the fore. And to be honest, and I think you'll agree, and I think most people agree, it's completely changed the game. Like, I barely read books now. And, you know, you can do the dishes and do this and listen to this and learn and all those sorts of things. So for anyone who's like a learning junkie or an infinite learner, it's a no-brainer.
There's no better place to do it. But then what I find interesting is that what you said then, that's why audio is taking over. Because there's Alexa, there's Google Home, all those things as well. It's like, hey, Alexa, play Liam Zolo's podcast. You can do it right there while you're cleaning, doing the dishes. You can learn on the run. I don't have time for reading a book. I don't have time for going on YouTube and watching a video, unless it's for Game of Thrones fan theories.
I still make time for YouTube videos. Yeah. But yeah, I think what's interesting that you're saying is like it's both ways. Like, the accessibility to information now is just so much greater. You know, we don't have to rely on focusing on text. You can just listen. And I think, I've been reading a little bit recently on brain and how the brain functions. We do not have any circuitry set up for reading. The concept of reading, the activity of reading has only been around for a couple of 100 years. And it's a strenuous activity for the way we've been wired. So it's just, to me, it makes perfect sense because we've probably been communicating face-to-face like we are now through sound for a much longer time than we have through text.
We don't remember in words. We remember in pictures and sounds.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how our subconscious remembers.
Yeah.
That's how we remember everything.
Yeah.
If you explain a situation, do you explain it in the words that you? If you remember a time in your life, a great time, like your wedding, do you remember the story in words, or do you remember Zolo getting up on the stage and trying to get a microphone, booted off
and
stage?
I think that laughter says it all, right? Like,
booted off stage. And I was actually speaking to the guy who was just setting up his podcast about that.
About my sister-in-law saying, get
what?
off.
I didn't mention any names. I didn't mention any weddings. You brought it up, dude. I semi-brought it up. But he goes to me. He said, I said to him, is singing a skill that can be learnt, or is it just a talent that's born? He goes, it can be learned. I go, what if you get up on stage and you start singing at weddings, and then no one wants you to sing? He goes,
You've done it at a couple of
every wedding.
Now. Yeah.
Every wedding I go to now.
Yeah. It's just party repertoire.
Mate, I have to do it. He goes, maybe if people are telling you to stop, maybe you should stop then.
When you decide, I think. But back to what we were saying about the pictures and the visuals. to go one step further, because I was actually reading this morning. Like when you read up on how the brain actually functions in relation to text on a page, your brain sees every single letter in every single word as a graph.
Oh,
so
really?
graph meaning a picture.
Yeah.
So we might think about when we read that we're kind of just we're just looking at words. But what we're actually looking at is what we've been taught. We're looking at pictures. Yeah. Every single little letter is a picture. And that's why reading can be so strenuous, because you're overloading, or not overloading, because we can do it, but you can't do it for as long. Like you can't sit down and we can't read to each other for 3.5 hours. No. It just doesn't work. No. I mean, you could do it if you push yourself through it.
It'll probably last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and that's boring. No one wants to hear us read.
So you've got a podcast as well.
Well, I've had to play. I've had to play around with just some of the free apps that are out there. But actually, thankfully, after getting some advice from you, I've reconsidered my approach. But it's always going to be something that I have in the back of my head going, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this.
You've got to just do it.
I've got to just do it, and that's what I was doing with the free apps. But obviously, I haven't done as much research as one should before they jump in.
Can I jump in on the research thing?
Go for it.
My research comes in when I succeed at anything in my life. It only comes from taking action first and thinking afterwards. Yeah, I know. And then sometimes, like even the amount of fuck ups I've had, like whatever it is, like I've always found that if I thought about it so long, like even a business idea, like thinking about a business idea for so long and then going, that guy's or girl's doing it already.
Yeah, the analysis by the paralysis by analysis. I get caught in that so easily.
Oh man, I do it all the time. Yeah. But to not beat myself up about it, I just ask myself one question now. It's like, what's more important at this present moment? Is this important enough? Like I've been thankfully given the idea by, my subconscious brain or whatever, it's just come to me. But is that for me? Like was I designed to make PayPal? Yeah. Or was it Elon Musk? Yeah. So is it? I'm not saying I'm in that category.
I know what you're getting at.
You know what I mean? Like millions of people have the same idea, but then Elon Musk was meant to do that. Therefore, that's why
that's called. You know what you're doing? What that's called? Have you heard of the term heuristics?
No.
So that is essentially a heuristic that you're using. It's like, think of it like a mental tool or a mental protocol that you run through. Like when you're getting to that point where you've recognized that you're being paralyzed by your analysis, you instantly go, I've got to ask that question again. And by asking that question and running through that process, you're using a mental heuristic.
Yeah, okay.
Which I think is so valuable, that people understand that you can sort of equip yourself with heuristics to sort of overcome those things. And I'm only just sort of, figuring it out recently.
Oh man, fuck. I'm always figuring this shit out, It's like I'm always action, and
I think that's
action first, and then everything else comes second. But then at the same time, it doesn't happen as it's meant to happen. Like going back to the world records, always use them as an example.
They're good examples.
I've always wanted to break a Guinness World Record ever since I was a kid, when I was a stocking filler. But I didn't know how to grow my fingernails to the point, because I was an anxious kid, so I always bit my fingernails. So I couldn't be the person who had the largest fingernails in the world breaking a world record.
Yeah, everyone remembers that. That photo.
Yeah. I mean, like all those things. But then it came to the point where we were doing charity events anyway. Like I was taking action because we wanted to help. Shawnee Herbert's sister, boyfriend had testicular cancer. Yeah. So, like, let's just get 20 people together. If I didn't put the idea out there and just go, this is important to me. Going back to that. This is important to me to help someone else, not from a point of view of, egotism or anything like that, because we didn't even tell anyone. We just got our friends and family involved, and mainly friends and family with Shawnee Herbert's sister and her friends. Yeah. And we just got him a signed Roosters jersey and gave him like a couple of grand or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. And then gave her some money at the end of it as well. And then after that, like someone else comes up to us and talks to me about doing a boxing event for his partner. Did you go to the second one?
Yeah, I've been to both.
This is before the world record. Did the Centennial Park one? Did you go to the Centennial Park?
I went to Centennial Park. I went to the one down at the Seals, Maroubra.
Yeah. So then that was like, it was just sort of the action side of things. What I'm getting at, the action side of things is like just take action. It never led to like, I'm going to do this charity event here to get to this charity event here to get to a Guinness World Record attempt. And what I find now is that if I paralyze, that's where my analysis by paralysis comes from. Because if I plan, I could have a great plan, but it's never going to work out according to plan. If I knew the plan in place already for breaking that world record, I would have stopped before I even did the first charity event. And I'll tell you why. Last thing I'll say on it, because it was going to cost $6,500 to break a Guinness World Record and get that adjudicated there.
Yeah.
So if I did my research all the way through before I even did any good, like we did any good, like all of us did fucking amazing.
Yeah, we were scraping people down to the last minute.
Oh, that was the burpees one.
Yeah.
So the boxing one was easy.
Oh, the boxing one was sweet, yeah.
Yeah, the burpees one was the scraping in the bottle. No one wants to do burpees. I didn't even want to do burpees, but I didn't want
But what you're getting at is like if you start with the action, then you avoid the possibility of being paralysed.
I didn't even know about doing a world record boxing class. It was only because I started doing boxing class charity events and enjoying doing. I didn't want to do a sit down dinner for a fundraiser. For a chick with throat cancer. I just wanted to get it. I thought of it was group prayer. Everyone come together. Maybe we can all like have our positive thoughts. Like maybe thinking too spiritual.
No, I don't think so at all.
I was like, I just want to get everyone together so we can have like positive thoughts towards her and all that stuff. I think her cancer did reduce over the following months.
She probably got so much out of that, more than we could even measure in a scientific lab. Like think about, it's funny you mentioned that word prayer. Because have you heard of Rupert Sheldrake? He's very famous for a couple of things, but in particular his field of research is about the science of spirituality and how they are like mutually coexist. And you can just imagine that and this is so that he's been like absolutely blasted over the years, because science is generally speaking, it's very hard. Hard line, we don't incorporate spirituality because none of that can be measured, essentially. But anyway, he, in his most recent book, has a whole chapter on how sports is one of the biggest spiritual activities that we in the West engage in these days. And it's really completely changed my mind on it. And when you were bringing it up before, and then talking about how that woman, got better over those
months after.
Yeah, it would not surprise me at all that purely by the byproduct of having that many people come together, essentially in a spiritual activity, that gave her some sort of peace to heal. You
don't have to have a god. You don't.
No.
You don't have to think about it as a god thing. You could just think about it as like maybe there is, because placebos do work, don't they?
That shit works.
If they believe it enough, and maybe a bunch of people coming together, thinking that we want you to be, I don't know, we want you to be around, we want you to be, people want the best for you, even if we don't know who you are, so then that might help you with being filled up with
100%
positivity
yourself.
I mean,
you can think about that. How much time we got?
Man, we've been going for 13 minutes already. That's how quick it is.
Let's wrap it up. Do you want to wrap it up?
You want to wrap it up?
I'm happy to keep going. I can do this forever.
I'll keep going. We'll go for another 10 minutes.
Okay, another 10 minutes.
2 hours later.
2 hours later. You can actually think about this from a very scientific standpoint, right? Like you don't have to get caught up in, some people are worried about getting caught up in the woo and looking stupid. But you can actually, when you think about these things objectively, you can bring back a lot of the thinking and illuminate the mechanics behind these situations in a scientific form. So think about this, right? Let's sit with this example of sport being a prayer and making you feel good, and that being a spiritual outcome, right? So it's as simple as looking at biochemistry. If you want to bring it back to a scientific perspective, you think about it in a biochemical sense. And what do we know about doing things we enjoy in a biochemical sense? What do we know?
Don't know. What do you mean?
Well, think about the most basic hormones that the endocrine system,
like endorphins,
dopamine, endorphins, all those types of things. Whenever we're a part of something that we've either found value in or we're enjoying, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be woo, then you upregulate the endocrine system and it starts to produce dopamine and whatever the other ones are, serotonin, any of those ones that are commonly known.
Increases your immunity.
Exactly. All of these benefits come out of essentially a spiritual practice. I think the problem is with the language.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we drop the spiritual word, people are like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
I'm an atheist, man. Don't give me this
shit. Yeah.
And whatever, each their own. But I think what's been really, really cool in the last, I don't know, it's probably been going on for a lot longer than I've been taking notes, but is that all these things are one. Like people have been talking about spiritual experiences for centuries, but they just didn't necessarily have the technology or the understanding or the capability to make a connection with the biological pathways that we're talking about. And, as we progress as a society and science starts to draw more connections and perhaps some of the, the stereotypical spiritual societies that maybe some people don't think are very open-minded, as they begin to open up and we, come close together, everyone's starting to realize, it's all connected. It's all connected. So I get really excited about that shit.
Yeah, 100%.
That's sick. Like, thank goodness. Like,
well, we are like all connected from even from the mindset of like, I don't know where you get woo-woo, where it draws a line as well. Like that's where I get confused. But if you
it just depends who you're talking to, man.
But then it's funny how you was talking about words as well. Like I was speaking to Malcolm Huxter, who's a Buddhist monk, and now he's a clinical psychologist, Aussie guy, and he was talking about spirituality, sport, but he talked about it from a meditation standpoint because he says I always say this all the time, but I share this story. So if anyone's listening, I'm sorry if you've heard it a million times before, but it's a good story to remember about mindfulness. This is where I'm talking about woo-woo words. People think that they have to sit on a hill and then cross their fingertips and close their eyes and go, to meditate. And he goes, man, like I was meditating 6 hours a day, yes, but I now go do school workshops around meditation and mindfulness. So he does it with 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. And you ask them to put up their hand, they go, what's your favourite sport? And some kids, and then it's like, yell it out, kids. And then kids like basketball, and another kid's like, soccer, another kid's like, rugby, and I like to dance. And he goes, that is a form of meditation.
100%.
That's a form of mindfulness because you don't have to sit on a hill to be in the present moment. Being in a dance recital or being in a rugby match or being in a soccer match or basketball match,
drawing,
whatever, they're all the same essence of being in the present moment. And that's what mindfulness is. So you don't have to meditate, and that's meditation. You don't have to sit down and meditate and close your eyes.
It doesn't have to exist in that stereotypical.
You don't have to. I'm not saying I've done it. I used to do it for 20 minutes a day. I probably should do it again, just because I have that different concept. Because it helped me more with visualization, I find. Because
you've always been really big on visualization, haven't you?
Massive.
Yeah.
But then it's like visualization, I don't know if everyone's head's the same, but
they're definitely not, bro. I'll tell you that right now.
You reckon? But like thoughts that come through, 66,000 thoughts come in your head in every given one day. So knowing that fact, if I sit down like this MMA fight, if I sit down and I think, oh man, this guy's going to knock me out. I used to be so, the reason why I was so anxious in the past about playing rugby league is because I used to think the same thoughts, and I'm like, no, get out of my head thoughts.
I remember you before games having to do a shit and being so nervous.
6 shits a day, mate.
You were the most nervous person that I ever played with.
But there was a problem with that because I didn't know how to, I don't know if it's manipulate your mind, but I wasn't aware of the tools of
the heuristics.
Maybe it is. Like now I think of it.
Well, you just didn't have a heuristic to help you get through it, perhaps.
Potentially. I'll draw back to the world record again. Leading up to that, I would remember having dreams, going into it, and there's 10 people in the crowd with that boxing world record.
Yeah.
And I learned that valuable fact of, no, hold on a second. No, that's not what's gonna. This is what I want. Like almost forcing that. There's 66,000 thoughts, visualized thoughts going through my head. There's only 100 bits of information that I can retain.
Right.
So I see that thought. I'm like, no, what's a counteractive thought? So it's like seeing things what they're not, then seeing things for what they are, and seeing things for what they could be. I don't know where I've learned that, but it's like, it's all right to see the negative.
Yeah.
It's all right to see that, like, he's knocked me out. Okay, cool. Why am I thinking about that? Maybe there's a weakness inside me, like, as in MMA fight, where, say, I'm scared of getting choked out.
Which is a valid thing to be afraid of.
So, okay, what am I scared of? Well, I'm scared of him taking me down. So that's the thing that I need to be working on. Maybe that's the skill, takedown defense. Maybe that's something that I need to work on at that potential time. So that's something that's a thought that'll be coming in my head. That's not saying that that's what's going to happen.
Right.
I thought
that's the distinction.
I thought that I visualized it. Oh shit! It's in the universe now. Like that's why I was
you
so
were afraid that would manifest as reality.
And then I'm thinking about negativity, so that's manifesting negativity. But then now I'm like, no, it's all right to have both sides because maybe there's something that I've got to be working on to make myself feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Low battery, man. How good's that?
Low battery is probably a sign.
But probably is a sign. But anyway, I'll just wrap up. That's where I think visualization, I've always considered myself a visual person. But to have that element of seeing things, I think that's more self-awareness, working on self-awareness. You'll never be conquered, self-actualization.
Yeah.
Noticing that. So after I'd had like 10 people in the crowd having these dreams, and I was doing a lot of meditation then, going shit, and no one's rocking up, and that feeling of doubt and like, oh man, I just worked so hard for this. It's like, and I've got 10 people here. It's like, okay, well, what do I need to ask myself a better question? What do I need to happen now for me to prevent 10 people and having the amount of people up? Okay, so I see that negative. That's the worst case scenario. This flopping and having 10 people there. What do I do to
ask the different question? To put you on a path towards
exactly
making that not something that's.
So I could have been egotistical and gone, I'm breaking a world record. It's gonna happen, and then not having a negative thought in my head. But if I see things from both sides, maybe you could see you could see what you need to fix in order to get people there. Because the reason, last thing I say on it, the reason why, and the lesson I needed to learn in that situation, 10 people there, I don't know if it was my thoughts already knowing what I needed to learn in order to get 454 people there, is that I kept chasing one person. Like I'll ring you up and go, Sam, can you come to my world record? Kingy, can you come to my world record? So of course there's 10 people there. It's like, no, ask myself, how am I going to get groups of 20 people there?
Yeah, it's about asking the right question. It's
about
about using the right mental heuristic. Yeah.
That's what it is. I don't know where I learned that, intellectualized it, but that's what I wanted there. That's how I visualize, I guess, now.
Yeah.
I went on a big tangent. Sorry, dude.
Dude, that's a beautiful tangent.
10 minutes already.
I'm all about tangents.
Yeah. So we'll wrap up?
Let's wrap it up. But let's, here, right now, because I want to make sure that we do this again. Yeah, okay. I want to come in and I want to talk with you because I love tangents and I think we've got a lot of things to talk about. I think we could talk
too much.
Hours, so.
Keto. Let's go talk about keto.
Let's talk about MMA. Let's talk about psychology. Let's talk about learning. Let's talk about everything.
2 hours, bro. It goes like that. Trust me.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bro.